My video presentation of my work in writing report in world literature of Mr. De la Cruz. Author's background of Edward Fitzgerald. Edward Fitzgerald or Fitzgerald was born on March 31, 1809 to June 14, 1883, was an English poet-writer. He is the most famous poem. He is the first best-known English translation of the Rubaiyat of Omar, which has kept its reputation and popularity since the 1860s. Background of the work. He was published in a pretentious anonymous little pamphlet. He is the most famous poem is the first and best English translation of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, because it was a lyric poet and it's composed of many praise, because it was a book created by the Persian poets and it's adopted from the very free. This is the sample of the reading poem. The title of this poem is Rubaiyat. What does every stanza convey? Obviously, on one level, the poem can present itself in a very straightforward manner, in the vein of Carpe Diem. In the third stanza, the author writers open the door. You know how little while we have to stay, and once departed may return no more. There's several references to this throughout the poem. First, the cap. The word of time was a little way for further, and the word is one unweighing. The entire the entire stanza describes the summer month that brings the rose, taking gemside, and so on, forth, so on, and Nisium. Nisium. Again in the fifth third stanza, you know more, the poet seems to be an incredible hurry to get this life going before some Jew and more than willing to encourage of any that lately encounters in the course of the poem to do same. Another occurring motif throughout the poem is the time-honored act of downing a few drinks. It appeared the ether wine, the cup of bowl, and the grape touch every stanza. In the poem, the narrator seems to be an alcoholic. In the 56th stanza, he dismisses everything so he can get drunk, having divorced reason and married the daughter of wine. In the verse previous stanza, of all that one should care of platform was never deep in anything but white letter. The narrator compares the grave to an angel. It is clear this person has something of an obsession. But all this seeming transparent reference to drinking big for a deeper analysis, writing a really great poem about blooming off the next tea to get rush does not get into your literary canon of the particular interest. It's the symbol of the cup in the bowl, or even pot at one point in the poem, and the wine that a narrator seems to be drawing out of it on every occasion. The cup in the Switzerland society, always synonyms with some sort of prize or contest, beside the cup being obviously equated the vagina and therefore a kind of sexual conscience in our society. Male driving history. There is also legend, the Holy Grail, the cup of life, which grants eternal life of anybody lucky enough to find. There is a parable in the Bible about a woman who, having been married in several times, out of pure lust of financial necessity, caused to the well manners, and she gets water. Jesus there dispensing wisdom in the usual from the we will thirst again whether or not. This convinces the woman of renounced worldly pleasure, and the becoming Christian is never so what. Then is the cup. The poet makes 25 references to throughout the poem, including the vessel of iron bowl and the glass. It's a fairly easy to argue. Cup is a bottomless, so it follows that you can enjoy the wine unless you drink it, but the more you drink it while it have chance. Now, different theme arises. The author wise using it is really time to seize the day and drink it up while it have chance. The 63rd stanza using another symbol explained it one thing the certain and the rest is a lies. The flower that once blown forever dies throughout the poem that is seen as being an empty cup. And the interest bow they called the sky were under crawling and were to like empty cup around over two. And one of the one creeps silently to raise the author seems to recognize that once drinking over so it's the life. Who is the speaker of the poem? The main speaker of the poem is Omar Khayam. The one talking the poem is John Charles Edward Boyan. What is the tone and mode of the poem? A metamorphic speech that's the poem's portrays. The poet scorns the scholars for their philosophical thoughts about past and further and consider them as a meaningful because their efforts will be further futile in death. The poet has used the doctors and saints as a symbol of learning and dogmatic beliefs. The imaginary of the poem is at once simple, exotic, and caps roses, months, gardens, javerns, desert, lovers, birds, and wine. The complex man vice man. A character fights against another person. The antagonist sees victory. The adversarial relationship can be expressed physically, emotionally, intellectually, in or other way. Man vice self. Conflict involves the protagonist's own fears. Man vice nature. The natural world turns against the protagonist, forcing him or her to fight against the elements and ever come facing advertisers piecing his hair. And that's the end of my video presentation. Thank you.